And I highlighted that word, but that word is also highlighted in the book. So that after you have done the will of God, you will receive the promise. Now, there are a million promises of God, and we could spend an entire service going over all of them. But what's important here is this word endurance. And when you look at the Greek translation of this word, it is derived from the ability to have an athlete's stamina. Now, I remember when I was in high school and I played basketball, and I had this coach, and he was insane. At least we thought he was insane because he ran us so hard. And we would, just the first thing we do when we got to practice was we'd run 2 miles. And I mean, we would run 2 miles. If you were slacking off at all, you weren't playing the next game. If you weren't running both miles in under 6 minutes apiece, then you weren't playing. That was it. Yeah, we were flying. So once we're done, we get into practice. We go in and we warm up, and you think that, okay, well, I ran my 2 miles. We're just going to shoot around for a while, and it'll be all good. No. We had to do these things called wind sprints. And some people call them line drills. Some people call them suicides. We call them suicides. Everybody, who knows what a suicide is here? Yeah, we got to, excuse me, for some of you that don't know what a suicide is. Excuse me, guys, sorry. For those of you who don't know what a suicide is, when you get into a gym, you line up on the baseline of the basketball court, and you sprint from the baseline to the free throw line, and you reach down, and you touch this line, and you had to actually reach down and touch it. Then you sprint back to the baseline, reach down and touch it. That's not the end. You pick up, and you run your happy self, sprinting your happy self all the way to the three-point line. You touch it, you go back, then to the half-court line, then to the other three-point line, back and forth until you are done, all the way up and down the court. And then when you get back and you finally touch that line for the last time, that's one. And we would do about 25 of these things in a row. And after about 15, your legs are done, your heart is pumping out of your chest. You know, you guys know what I'm talking about. Huh? We call them suicides. Okay? Because you wanted to commit suicide by the time you were done doing 25 of those. And what we would do was after that, we would take like a small little break, you know, get our water or whatever. And then the coach would have us doing a series of drills that were offensive and defensive that were specifically designed to keep our legs moving and to keep our hearts pumping. So by the time you're done with all of this and you've practiced all your plays, you're ready to go home, you're ready to pass out, you're sore, you're hurting. Then it's like, all right, guys, back on the line. We're going to do more suicides. And he would have us do another round of suicides, and he would push us. And if we didn't work hard enough during practice, we would do more at the end. And we would do these suicides, and once it was all done, he would go, okay, get your balls and go to the free throw line. And what we would do is he would have us practice free throws when we are absolutely beaten down to the last inch of ourselves. And I'll tell you, once you've done suicides for a half an hour, twice, and been practicing all this time, when you get a basketball and you go to a free throw line and you look at the rim, that rim is not stationary. That thing is going like this. But the whole point to this was to build our endurance. Because when we go into a game, we weren't going in there to be nice. We were going in there because the other team was the enemy. We need to beat them. We need to build our endurance so at the end of this, we are just as strong. We are just as, in 32, just as illuminated and on fire and ready to win at the end of the game as we were in the beginning of this game. So then when things really did get tough and the game was on the line, we could go out and we could hit those free throws at the end of the game and it was no problem. It was like we never even started the game. And the whole point was to hopefully the other team was so worn down and we were still ready to play a second game when it was over. But I was thankful for it. I really was, because we won quite a few games like that. But I remember doing all those drills, my coach, he was psychotic. He would just, he would scream at the top of his lungs while we're running all these wind sprints. I'm sorry, I'm like laughing. I'm gonna have nightmares after I tell you this. He would scream at us, and he would go, "Mental challenges! It's mental challenges, man! You have to go out there and you have to fight." And I mean, I've heard that so many times, that mental challenges. I remember like waking up in the middle of the night, mental challenges. You know, I mean, just and but that was the whole point to that, was getting us to realize that no matter what happens, when it gets to the end of the game, your body, in a lot of instances, is going to be totally beat down, and your mind is going to be totally beat down, and you just want to shut down. Every part of your being just wants to give up and say, "Let's go home, give the other team the win. I want a Gatorade in my bed," and that was it. But at the end of the day, it was those hearing that mental challenges, and he was pumping it into us to reinvest ourselves, to when things are at their absolute worst, and you think that you can't go one step more, to reach down and will yourself. And a lot of times that's how we have to deal with the enemy, because the enemy will creep into us and will start to wear us down, and wear us down to a point where we don't even realize we're being worn down. And next thing you know, you have absolutely given up on everything that you were working towards. What time is it, Jay?